Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Yesterday we talked about sheep and shepherds, and a little bit about how Jesus is the perfect good shepherd of His sheep. For today, I want to look specifically at what it means for us as His sheep to hear His voice and follow Him. Talking about a shepherd, Jesus says, "The sheep hear His voice, and He calls His own sheep by name and leads them out. And when He brings out His own sheep, He goes before them, and the sheep follow Him, for they know His voice. Yet they will by no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers." When I was a kid, I'd get out of Sunday school and go wait for my parents at the top of the stairs. All the adult classes were in the basement, so I could hear each class get out and talk as they walked down the hall and up the stairs. Both my parents had classes at the very end of the hall, and they were always the last ones to come out. But I could always hear my mother as she and her friends talked and laughed, walking up the stairs. I could always recognize her voice. Let's fast forward about 20 years, when I was in college. At one point, my dad called and left a message on my answering machine. My roommate and I laughed because he started out the message by saying, "Carla, this is your dad," as if I wouldn't recognize his voice. Children can always recognize their parents' voices. They can even tell if a parent is worried, angry, or happy just by the tone of their voice sometimes. The opposite is true. If a kid at a playground falls and hollers for his mom, you'll probably only see one mother in the group running toward him because she recognized his voice. That's the way it works with shepherds and sheep. The sheep recognize their shepherd's voice. So you can see multiple shepherds with their flocks all mixed together. But when it's time to go, a shepherd can just holler a command and his sheep come trotting out to follow him. The other sheep don't follow him because they know that he's not their shepherd. Now let's translate that to the Christian life and our good shepherd. We know his voice. Later in the chapter, Jesus tells the Jewish rulers that they are not his sheep. If they were his, they'd hear and follow. He says, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me." Their unbelief was evidence that they were not his sheep. So as Jesus' sheep, we should hear his voice. We should be able to tell the difference between the voice of our shepherd and the voice of the world, or the voice of a thief or robber. I'm sure in any flock, the new sheep have to develop an ear for their shepherd's voice. So how do we learn to distinguish it? For one, we need to stay close to our shepherd. We can do that by meeting him every day in prayer, reading his word, applying it to our lives. We need to be sure we don't stray away by obeying what he teaches us and what we know is right. And we need to pay attention, anticipate his voice, listen for it, not just in our prayer and devotional time, but as we're going through our day. Whether it's following his gentle voice telling you to get in a certain line at the grocery store so he can set up for you a divine appointment, or following him next door to check on your neighbor. The Holy Spirit in our hearts will guide us as we listen to and obey our shepherd. And when the world and the deceiver tries to divert our attention or tells us lies, the Holy Spirit can help us discern those things. As I've heard it said about this passage, Christianity can be simplified to this: he leads, we follow. How are you doing at following Jesus today? How can you hear the shepherd's voice more clearly? How can you flee from other voices and concentrate only on his?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through his word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.